Come out of the world, oh my people.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well out there, and may our Creator continue to be with those that are obedient to Him and continue to bless them. And those that are not, may He open up your heart and draw you closer to, and open up your eyes to see who He is and the importance of believing and following Him. So what I want to talk about today is many believe, but few obey, and what this means, and what does it mean? What believe what? Yes, the scripture says, "For many are called, but few are chosen." And the real, what that really means is many are called, but few choose. So the real question is, what do we choose to believe, and what is the result or the outcome of that, or what's the importance of believing or what we believe in? Because I meet many people that pray, but what or who are they praying to? We could always talk about what is the consistency of their prayers and what's motivating that, but the question and the topic is what or who are they praying to? So it's not just about praying, it's about who you're praying to. It's the same thing about obedience. Everyone's obedient to something, but what are you obedient to? And then the ultimate question is to follow. Who are you following? And the scriptures talk about very clearly, and Yeshua speaks very clearly about following Him. And when we follow Him, we get the result that He desired for us, right? But when we follow whatever else, we're going to get that result. So this is one of the reasons why in the scriptures it talks about the company you choose, because they either become like you or you become like them. But if you surround yourself by people that are doing things that are not safe or wise, you're going to most likely fall into that trap. But if you follow a wonderful Creator and what He tells us, to follow Him, it makes a big difference in what we kind of understand and what we see in this. So how do we follow, I'll say, Yeshua, the one they call Jesus? So the first thing we have to do is have faith and trust that His way is the way that we should be following, because it's not going to be easy to follow something we don't have faith in. So the first thing we need to do is, have faith that His way is the way. Now, some people would suggest, well, can we have faith without understanding? Or faith without 100% proof or something like this? Faith is to determine our understanding and our proof, not the other way around. If you're just looking for proof or investigating something, 100%, you're always in the stage of investigating, but there's always going to be something coming alongside to sway you away. It says faith is believing in the unseen, making that oath, and everyone that believes in something has a good reason in their own mind to believe that something until something better comes along. But we have to make a decision with the information that's out there, and what type of life we want or where we want to be. And the perimeters have been set of what these choices can offer us. And the glorious or glamour of the life here now, if you even believe in the possibility of an afterlife, you have to consider, well, if there is an afterlife, is there many ways to get there, or is there one way to get there, or one path, or one gate? Now, if you believe this, or if you choose to believe, there's many different ways, and what do you do when those ways contradict each other? Okay, so there can't be many different ways, because there's no way that's aligned 100% with each other. Some of them might be similar, but they're not going to be 100%. But then we get the question is, well, okay, if there's only one way, there are still ways that contradict each other. And what if we make the wrong choice? And so this is why we need to really consider what the outcome is of this and what this is. And it's not only what we want or what we would like, but it's like what the reality is. How do we get there? And the first thing to do to follow a wonderful creator is to accept and believe Yeshua as your Messiah. That's the first way and the first thing we need to do. Accept and believe. And you don't give up there. That's the journey doesn't end there. That's where it begins. So after that, we have to learn about the love of our wonderful creator. We have to learn about love, not from a human intellectual standpoint of what love is to our feelings and our emotions, because this idea of love from a human understanding is just really an emotion that comes and goes based on people's flesh. But we have to understand the love of our creator and how he loved us and what that means, that ultimate love. It's almost like the difference between happiness and joy. Happiness is based on something that happens. Unhappiness is based on something that happens also. That's why they call it happening. It's based on something that happened. But joy is something that's inside you, regardless of what's happening around you. Nothing's going to take your joy away. It's the same thing with the love of our intellectual thinking as humans versus the love of our creator. One is an emotion based on things that are happening and pleasing to our flesh. The other is something that can never go away, regardless of what's happening around us. So we need to understand the difference of that and understand the love of our creator. So as we accept a wonderful Messiah, Yeshua, and understanding the love and what true love means, and then as we understand what true love means, we need to appreciate and love others and also love ourselves. Because once you understand what true love is, now you have to apply it to others and ourselves. And so this is what it means in the scripture. It says, be transformed, not by our own thinking, our own minds, but by the perfect will of our wonderful creator. And then we need to be in a relationship with our creator where we're continually talking to him. This needs to happen. This is the essence of prayer. It's continually to speak, to listen, to learn, to grow. And this is how you're going to follow is by acknowledging or speaking and investigating, but continually speaking to our creator. And our creator speaks back to us in his word. Some people might verbally hear from our creator, and there is an idea, if you verbally want to hear from him, verbally speak to him. But some people hear from him in different ways. Maybe he speaks through others, but there's one sure way that he speaks to us today, without a doubt, and everyone has the opportunity to hear him, and that is reading the inspired words in the scriptures, the Bible. Read the Bible if you want to hear from our creator and what he wants you to do or what he wants you to follow. It's such an important thing that many people miss today, and if you think you're hearing from him verbally or any other way through other people or anything, if the Bible does not go along with what you're hearing, that's not being led by the Spirit, so to say, or at least it's not the Spirit of our creator, because him speaking to you will never counteract the words that are written in scripture speaking to you. So listening to what you think is him or what he's telling you to do is like hanging around with the wrong people if you're not reading the scriptures to confirm what he's saying. So you have to hear, but you also have to confirm it in word. So every aspect of your life, if you want to truly follow him and choose to follow him, you have to bring him into every aspect of your life. No matter what you're doing, you always have to consider his word. What is that saying? What would Jesus do? Or what would Yeshua do? Well, there's only one way to know that, and that's to read the word. And what did he do? And that's a great question, is what would he do and what would you do? And sadly, most people today are not doing what he told us to do. That would be known as disobedience. So what Yeshua would do, or what Jesus would do, is what the word says to do. And then when we get all that, sometimes that is not going to go along with what we want to do. So we might want to do something, our flesh might want us to do something, but the word says something different. And, we could bring up many different topics in this area, but for one area, let's bring up homosexuality. Somebody's flesh might desire to do something, but the word says don't do that. We could say the same thing about adultery or fornication or lying or stealing. Our flesh might justify stealing in a situation or lying in a situation. Our flesh might push us to act out on physical things that the Bible calls evil and wicked. We have to consider these things, and and consider the word, and it's not necessarily going to line up with the way we feel always. And we do want to get to a point where what we believe or think or want to do does line up with the word, and we take joy in that. And that's a growing process, because we're trained to do things in our lives that go against the word, and we develop these habits that go against the word. So when we first start changing to go opposite to that, sometimes it's not easy for our flesh to give up those things. But we would like, or we should desire, to get to a point where we're not just doing what goes against our flesh, but that our hearts would be so transformed, that our mind would be so transformed, that we would get to a point where it doesn't go against our flesh. Our flesh will now desire to do the things of our Creator and have no temptation to do the things that aren't of Him. And it's a process of maturity and growing. And the way you do that is to get into the word and follow Him. And what's going to help you with all of that is trusting in Him, trusting in what He tells you to do and how to do it, trusting in our wonderful Creator. And then we have to be thankful for all of the things, all of the situations, knowing that our Creator is in control. We have to rely on and trust and believe in His word. So these are the things that are important when it comes to following Him. It says in Matthew 8:22, follow me and leave the dead to bury their own. And this is something we need to consider. It's not just the in this particular passage, they're talking about the literally dead people and funerals, but consider this to another idea of death. If you think of the idea of being born again, that we have a new life in Him, consider the idea of death. Those that are dead in their spiritual walk, leave the dead to their own, the world to their own ways, and we can be in the world but not of this world. So this is what we need to consider. Remember the tax collector in Mark in 2:14, he says, follow me, and he arose and followed Him. This is something that we have to think about, all these things I'm explaining here today. And it's never too late or a bad idea to recommit yourself to Him and check yourself every single day of the things I'm telling you. Read the word, make your decisions based on what you've read in the word. Yes, pray about it. And if the answer you get goes along with what the word confirms, there's your answer. There's great wisdom in the counsel of others, but the confirmation of the scripture is needed to move forward. So please consider these things, and I pray that your day is blessed today as you go out there, and may your hearts be circumcised and to come closer to Him as we all grow together closer to Him in maturity. And if we want to truly follow Him and understand the consequences of follow Him, the straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leads unto life, and few there will be that find it. May you be one of those few, and pray for those that haven't had their eyes opened as of yet. Okay, everybody, have a blessed day today. May our Creator be with you and bless you, and shalom, shalom.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways. Torah Life Ministries, come out of the world.